everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I will be showing you how I do my foundation on an everyday basis, and this is more to cover up my acne areas. I have been having some issues with some breakouts, and I wanted to show you guys what I do to cover those up with my makeup. You could go as heavy-handed with this or as light as you want. It all depends on how you want your face to look. Now, for an everyday type of thing like I'm gonna be showing you today, I just mainly like to make my face look as nice as possible. So I don't really do too much on my eyes, you know, on an everyday basis, but I always want my skin to look its best. So there's just some craziness going on with my skin right now, so all I could do is try to make it better, and in the meantime I'm gonna cover it up. So the first thing that I'm gonna be using is my beauty blender, and I have been using this over my brush just because I want something that I could clean on a daily basis. And the brushes, you know, you could go a week or two without cleaning them, but I clean my beauty blender every single day. So having this has really helped not be distributing the gunk and the nasty that I have on my face. But what I have been loving to do is start off with concealer, getting all these patches done with concealer before I even start my foundation. So for concealer, I have been using my Kat Von D Lock It Tattoo Concealer, and this one is in the color Medium 24. And I have used this to death, so don't judge me, it's like basically empty. So what I like to do is start off with my concealer, and I'm gonna put the concealer directly onto the tip of the beauty blender, right on the side, just like that. And that's what I'm gonna start off with. So I'm gonna go, let me zoom you guys in a little bit. So I'm gonna start by patting on the concealer, and I have some discoloration and acne scars down here on my chin too. I'm gonna go the whole way around my chin and then back to my cheek to distribute that color. So I am just patting this in because I want to put that color down and not disturb it. I want it to stay there where I put it. Then I'm gonna add a little bit more of my concealer, and now I'm gonna do this side and my nose area. So I'm gonna start by patting it onto the areas that I want most covered. And if you have a beauty blender, make sure that it is wet. You want to run it under water for a little bit, and I like using cold water. Just feels nicer on my face when I'm putting it on. So I'm going the whole way around my nose where women tend to get a little red hormonally. And I have some acne scars on my nose and right here in the center of my forehead. So I'm going to add a little bit more, make sure to get the darker spots. And I'm just going to blend all this in. Now I'm going to add a little bit more to this area right here. Just because it's a little bit more red. So I'm going to take a little bit more concealer and just pat it right over those areas. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing and just add a little bit more onto this side where I have the most issues. And then whatever's left over, I'm going to go around my mouth and get some darkness there. So once I have my concealer on, you could already see that it looks a lot better. You know, you're not seeing all that redness, all those pimples and stuff. So with that same concealer, I'm going to add a little bit more onto my beauty blender, and that's going to go under my eyes. I also like to conceal my dark circles with this concealer. I'm telling you guys, this concealer, this Kat Von D concealer is amazing. And I think the whole thing with this concealer is that it's supposed to cover up tattoos. That's what it's called, the tattoo concealer. I don't have any tattoos, so I can't tell you if it works for that, but it definitely works for my under eye and my pimples. So I'm just patting this in and also concentrating on this inner corner here where it tends to get a lot darker, and that makes you look tired. So you just want to make sure you're getting this inner corner right here in your tear duct area. Next thing I like to do is use my MAC Prep and Prime in Light Boost. Since this is like what I do on an everyday basis, I don't do a lot of highlighting with like powders and stuff. You totally can if you like that, but I really honestly just don't have any time in the morning to go all out. So I take advantage of this step and just highlight my face with this. And then with my beauty blender, I'm gonna go in and blend it all out. You can use whatever side of the beauty blender you like. You can use a brush. Basically, whatever you like. And this just gives a subtle highlight, gives a little bit more dimension so that it's not looking gray when we go in with the bronzer and it's like really dark. So I'm just going in and patting this in because you don't want to move that concealer. Always remember that if you start swiping and like brushing away, what you're gonna do is move the concealer and it's just gonna go away. And then all that hard work is for nothing. The L'Oreal True Match Lumi Healthy Luminous Makeup in the color, there it is, Nude Beige W3 Warm. So it says it on the top. So I'm gonna take 1 pump of this. So 1 pump is all I really need. And I'm gonna take this with my finger and dot it on my face. It's better to start with less and be able to build it up than start with too much and then you can't get it off. So I am just going to start by patting all this in, kind of distributing it throughout my face, making sure to get the spots that I didn't get concealer on, because you want the whole face to be the same color. And I go over my eyelids as well. And then bring it down your neck. Just like press it in. So after I'm done with my foundation, that is it for the liquid and cream products. So now what I want to do is set all of my foundation and concealer and highlight so nothing moves and you have, you know, a face of makeup for the rest of the day. You don't want your makeup to be coming off, sliding off, melting off. None of that is fun. 2 powders, and they are both the Stay Matte powders from Rimmel. So this lighter one I use for under my eyes just to bring a little bit more lightness is Buff Beige, and this is the number 012. The one that I use for the rest of my face is this one right here, and this is in the color 004 Sandstorm. So there you can see this one's much lighter than this one, and you always want to have balance to your face. Now if you're going to apply a crap ton of bronzer, you want to make sure that you have some lightness in your face because you don't want to look like an orange Oompa. So I'm going to take a little small brush like this. This is called the Chisel Blush Brush from Crown Brush, I think. So I'm going to take my lighter color and I'm going to use that to set my concealer, my under eye concealer, foundation, and my highlight. And I'm also going to put that right over my eyelid just to set everything in place. And then with that same lighter color, I'm going to go down the center of my face. I'm going to take the darker color and I'm going to use that to set the rest of my face. So then the next thing I'm going to do is go in with my bronzer, and I like the Hoola Benefit bronzer. I also like the Balm's Bahama Mama bronzer. I've been going back and forth, but today I'm going to use the Hoola bronzer. You can use any bronzer that you like, whatever complements your skin tone the best. I'm going to take a large powder brush, and this one is from Crown Brush, doesn't have a name. I'm going to tap it off, and then I'm going to start by placing the bronzer right here. You can kind of see it in the light where my cheekbones kind of hollow out a little bit, and that's where I'm going to put this bronzer. And I'm going to start by patting it down and blending it. Now I'm not doing this to contour, I'm just bronzing. So you can see I'm going to go up onto my forehead. I'm not being really careful of where it's going. It's just going to be a wash of color to bring more dimension back into my face. Another good tip is if you want to bronze your face, do it after you powder, because if you do it before you powder, you're not going to be able to have a very good blend if you're putting bronzer over wet foundation. So putting on a powder beforehand will help the blending process be a little bit better. So I'm just going around my forehead. And if you have a small forehead, you want to avoid putting bronzer or any dark powders around your forehead because it will just make it look smaller. Excuse my puppy. If you have a bigger forehead, you're going to want to put a little bit more bronzer on there just to recede it a little bit. If you have giant cheeks like I do, then you're going to put the majority of your bronzer on your cheeks, and that'll help make an illusion that they're smaller. I also like putting that right under my jaw and blending it down. Now I'm hardly putting any on here. I'm just blending away whatever's left on my brush. And then the last thing I do as far as my base goes is my blush. And lately I have been using one of two. And I have this one by Nars and this one from Tarte. And the Tarte one is called Amused. It looks like that. It's super pretty and bright and very summery. And then the one I use from Nars is Orgasm. So today I'm gonna do Nars one just because it has a little bit of shimmer and it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. You have a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of pink, and that acts as a blush and a highlighter. So I'm just gonna take a little angled brush, and this one is from Crown brush. I'm gonna start applying my blush right on top of my bronzer. So the very last thing I'm gonna do is blend everything out. I'm gonna take my little my powder brush that I use for bronzer, and I'm just gonna go over everything very lightly. I'm not pushing down or anything. Just wanna make sure everything is nice and blended. So there you guys have it. That is my base foundation routine for when I have all these acne and pimples and craziness. So I'm gonna finish my whole face and then I'll be back at the end. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week in my next video. Bye!